Hi, everyone. This is another episode number 6 of Coffee Talk. My name is Ryan, and I'm here with.
And you're with Alex.
And we are here today. We're talking about portafilters. So portafilters are an essential piece of the equipment with espresso machines. And Alex has quite a bit of experience with a lot of different types of portafilters, and he has a few portafilters to show us. So make sure you stay tuned till the end so he can show you the different types and why they are good. So Alex, how many different types of portafilters have you actually used?
So the portafilters, the type. So mainly there are two types of portafilters, and there are mainly the spouted portafilters and the bottomless portafilters. There's also the third category, which is the capsule portafilters, which is more designed to put capsules in rather than coffee. But then we won't go into that 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 doesn't really quite follow into the mainstream. Um, so capsuled coffee, so portafilters with a capsule, so portafilters that takes capsules. You would use things called the ESE pods, and you don't need to tamp. The coffee's already prepared. It has been pre-grounded, and it's ready to brew. So those portafilters, they are mainly for convenience. Um, so these capsule style, so those are the capsule style portafilters. There's also another type that just came into mind, which is also the pressurized portafilters. Um, these portafilters are mainly they're not really likened by the coffee community it because because basically you are making like I wouldn't say fake coffee, it but it sort of takes out the enjoyment, and also it doesn't let you taste the authenticity of espresso. So basically, what pressurized portafilters do, you use a special basket, and this basket has so in a normal filter basket you would have loads of holes, but in this pressurized portafilter you would only have one hole. So what the machine does, it brews the water and it forces the coffee out through the single hole, and it creates just the enough pressure to brew. So then this would end up you making something called fake crema. So the foam at the top of the espresso. So pressurized portafilters it aims to make that fake crema, and as it's fake crema, you're not it's still coffee, but it's not really the true espresso. So so out of the four types of portafilters that I've spoken about, it's mainly the spouted and the bottomless portafilters which I would mainly favor. So as Ryan did mention before, so I'll show the portafilters because I have them here. So this is a spouted portafilter. So the basket, which you can see here, and it's got two spouts. So these portafilters, so you could have a double spout like the ones here, or you could have a single spout. And I've seen portafilters where they would even have a triple spout. So what the spout does, so I think as you would probably imagine, it would just split the espresso into two cups. Um, yeah, and then the bottomless. So they are also known as the naked portafilter. So like the one here. So this comes from my L1 machine. So you can see the filter basket straight from the bottom. So the bottom has been shaved off. So this used to be a spouted portafilter, but the manufacturer just shaved off the bottom. And what this does is it allows you to see the actual extraction from the espresso. And one of the good things is that the espresso doesn't actually touch any of the metals, so none of the heat would be lost. Um, and all that the coffee would be touching would be the cup. So yeah, so those are the portafilters that I've had, that I've yeah, so these are the portafilters that I am aware of, and I've yeah.
Yeah, so with the portafilter itself, it's actually just the handle and the the spout itself, right? It's that there's also a basket component that's inside there, right? Are you able to take out the basket?
Yep. So I'll take my bottomless, so it would actually be easier for me. So if I just push, so yeah, so this is my filter basket,
That's a
and
58 mil.
so yep, so it's a 58 mil. So this portafilter is a 58 mil um 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 portafilter that fits my L1. So yeah, so all that it just does is all that it does is it just holds the basket. And also, I'm not sure if you could see, there's a spring as well.
I do around the edge.
Yep. So you could sort of like see like a small rim.
Right.
So what that spring does, it actually holds the basket. Um, so on some baskets some baskets are ridgeless or they're ridged. So ridged baskets. So let me show one here. Okay. So ridged baskets, you could sort of see like a ridge around.
Yeah.
So all that does is that the spring would just sit on, it will just sit on the top so it will sit on the top so that the basket wouldn't fall out. Um, yeah, so, but some people would favor the ridgeless because it's just so that the coffee wouldn't get trapped in the ridge. So that's one of the, so that's one of So that's one of the reasons why people would favor the ridged basket. I mean, the ridgeless basket over the ridged.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, going from a spouted to a naked or bottomless portafilter, um, a lot of people feel that it really shows your skill or shows your lack of skill, so to speak, in making espresso because with the naked bottomless, you can tell when the coffee's channeling and when you're pulling your shot. You can tell the color. You can tell a lot of things that are happening with your espresso shot, right?
yep. Um, yeah. So with the bottomless portafilter light, so as you say, like it would highlight the barista errors. So whether like if the barista is not is not dosing is not distributing the coffee evenly, and then that would result in channeling, as you did say. Um, so it would show whether there is an even extraction.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and also one of the good points of a bottomless portafilter is that as as there is no contact with the metal, so the coffee would be coming straight from the machine into the cup. So there's no other contact. So basically, the coffee is as fresh as it is.
Right. You mentioned about heat exchanging and the coffee touching metal and the metal will extract and take out some of the heat from the coffee, right?
Yeah. So let's say if you're having a cold portafilter, so if you're using a smarted portafilter, so if you're using one of these, so I took out the basket. So yeah, so if these are cold, then this would suck in the heat from the coffee, and that could have an effect on the taste because you want the espresso to be warm, and if you take out a bit of heat out of it, and that could affect the taste. So if you take out the spouts, no contact, so less heat is being taken out. And yeah, and the coffee would be as fresh as you could get it from a bottomless portafilter.
Mm, that's good. So in terms of sizing of the portafilters, I know there's, a range of sizes from, low as 51 millimeter to 58. So how do the different sizes affect the way you make coffee, and, is one better than the other?
I think the sizes of the portafilter, I think it actually depends on the manufacturer. But if we put that aside, the only thing that I could think of in terms of the size would be the dish, would be the surface area of the coffee against the water. So I think I think over the years, I think people have found that 58 millimeter portafilter sizes have been like this sweet spot. So even though you may get portafilter sizes of like 50, as you say, from 51 to 58, I think 58 is more of like this sweet spot, and it's more like it is found in most commercial machines.
Yeah.
So
Do you
so I
find
think
that the baskets are, like, if you have a wider diameter, like a 58 millimeter, that the baskets are generally shallower, like say double shot to a double shot basket?
mm, um I would say not necessarily, because like I think it just like you could certainly have the same dose, um but it just means that the way that you're it just means that the contact of the coffee against the water would be different. So if you compared a 53 mil to a 58 mil, you could still dose the same, but it just means that the contact of the coffee would be different. So a 53 mil would have would have less contact overall compared to a 58, because obviously 58 is wider. But saying that you don't want it to be too wide, because otherwise you're going to have to adjust the machine pressure and so on, and others, and so on and so forth. So I think 58. So I think over these years, I think 58 has become like the standard size for commercial machines and for the high-end home, and even in the most domestic setting.
That's good. That's good to know. I've seen some pretty fancy handles for portafilters out there, and some of them can get pretty expensive, right?
Yep. So if you're talking about like the standard, like the handles, so if you're talking about the handles like this one, so this came from my Ranchilio machine, so this came from my Ranchilio Silvia machine. So you could get the normal plastic handles. So I'm guessing this is what you're mentioning about when you're
Yeah.
talking about handles. So you could get the normal plastic handles which came with the machine, and these would be fairly quite cheap, affordable, nice. It's quite ergonomic, so it's quite nice in the hand. But if you really want something that is more nicer, most people would go for wood. So like so like with with my L1 portafilter. So mine came with wood, because that is actually how the L1 because that is what the L1 actually comes with. So wood feels a lot nicer in the hand. It feels natural, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it
Uh,
does. Yeah.
so it's really nice in the hand. Uh, yeah, so it feels nice when I insert this into the machine.
Yeah.
Even my lever, it has wood. So so
Fancy
yes.
stuff.
So yeah, so like wood. So if this portafilter came with plastic, I could actually exchange it for so this is wood, so I could actually exchange this for a plastic handle. But obviously I won't do that, but it is possible.
Okay, so Alex, I've seen also portafilters that are made out of different materials. Like some are brass and then they're chrome plated, and then also there are ones that are fully stainless steel. Do you have any comments about those type, and does it actually change the taste of the coffee?
I think most. I think most machines that I've seen that are mostly chrome-plated brass, because I think from my knowledge, brass is a very good heat conductor compared to stainless steel. So I think if you were to, so I know most, so I know commercial machines, they usually have a brass, like usually a chrome-plated brass portafilter. So I guess the heat conduction would be a lot greater. So hence, if you have a better heat conductor, then um then then the heat exchange between the portafilter and the machine won't and like there wouldn't really be much loss. But if you use stainless steel, which I don't think is a good heat heat conductor compared to brass, I think that would affect your coffee a bit because you won't be conducting as much heat.
Yeah, and I think yeah, you're right. It's really about the heat, but some have mentioned that over time, if you don't maintain your portafilter or whatnot, or just over time, the chrome plating actually will chip away, exposing the brass. And when you go and pull your shot of coffee, it actually might taste the coffee a little bit, and you might taste some different metal, or I don't know. Have you ever experienced that before?
Um, not not much, and because I actually haven't damaged my portafilters, so I've only got like minor scratches, but not much of those, but not much. So not much of the brass has been exposed to the coffee, so I haven't really experienced that. So I think it's so yeah. So I think I mean yeah. So I think the chrome is to protect the brass, and yeah, and just to avoid it. Yeah, just to avoid that metallic taste that you was referring to.
Yeah, and of course to make it look nicer, I guess. But yeah, that's just one issue that I heard you might get if your chrome plating starts to chip away on your brass portafilter. So that's great. So I don't have any more comments about portafilters. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Um, I think portafilters are just basically one part of the machine. You cannot live without like if you have a machine and you don't have the portafilter, basically you won't be able to use the machine at all. So the portafilter is actually one part of the machine that you cannot lose.
Yeah.
Um,
So take care of your portafilter too. Make sure it's clean, and don't bang it around and whatnot, because if you damage that portafilter, it's not the end of the world. You can buy a new one. However, it's an important component, like you said, because not only that you can't make coffee or espresso without a portafilter, it's also important because that's actually where your coffee sits when it's being brewed. So make sure that it's clean, and make sure that there's no exposed brass and metal and all that kind of stuff is also important, right?
mhm. Yep,
For sure. Well, for anyone that has any questions or comments, please leave them below. Don't forget to subscribe. We have weekly videos. And I want to thank Alex for showing us all his portafilters today.
no problem.
Okay, take care.
Take care.